Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Down in the Country podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Reed, and today we are joined by another up and coming country music artist, Michael Pritchett. Thank you so much for your time today, Michael.
Yeah, Dylan, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Great. It's great for you to be here. And you describe yourself as someone who combines his country upbringing with their own sound fused with rock sounds and then applying that to more diverse genres. So, how's that shift been in shaping your identity as an up and coming country music artist?
The best thing about it is it allows me to express myself in so many different ways. Like, it just takes the boundaries right out of it. Um, Growing up where I grew up, it was my mom listened to country music. My brother played death metal music. I grew up listening to Lil Wayne, and my other brother's a worship leader. So it was like blended. I'm like a melting pot of genres, and being an independent artist, I can jump through any of them,
Mm,
really. I just want what feels right at the time.
awesome. And was there a particular song, because you mentioned Lil Wayne is sounding like being one of your musical influences that you were like, this is kind of what I can, um, this is what I can take from him and really apply it to my style of country music?
Not necessarily like if I do rap music, it's more like I would say like Shabuzi, mixed a little bit the baby. That's like my influences, like as far as me as an artist. But to take from what Lil Wayne does, even now today, the way he writes, his alliteration, his melodies, the way he's able to transpire words into just flowing naturally,
Hmm.
I'll do that in any genre. I'm a big fan of his writing style.
Awesome. And then kind of what you just said bleeds into my next question nicely. Um, two singles I really want to highlight, Rolling Stone and Two Turnt Baby, really represent your versatility in being an artist. Could you just, to start off with Rolling Stone, could you provide an introduction to that single and kind of what it means to you as an artist?
So Rolling Stone, the way I came up with that song, it was I was in the Navy and I was about to get out and I was writing. I was started school at Berkeley, and I wanted to just hone in on the fact that this isn't who I am as a person because I'm still in the military. There's going to be another life, and I was trying to like explain to my mom that I was getting out of the military. I was going to go, do music, and no mom wants to hear that. So that's where the idea of a Rolling Stone came from because I was always just the way I grew up was not exactly ideal as far as like the things I did. Like I was just with like the kids who kind of got in trouble, or I was playing sports, I was doing this stuff. But the difference between those two songs, when it came to Rolling Stone, I recorded that full live, like old school Nashville production style. Like we had, six musicians in there, and I was cutting vocals over a live tape. And then Two Turn Baby, I was in a room with Tyler, who featured on it, and we found a beat that we really liked. We purchased the beat, and then we took it into the studio and cut vocals on it. So the difference between that, like within a 2 year span, it just blows my mind of how music can just be so different. But
Yeah.
I love the fact that I could just jump back and forth. My first song was Rolling Stone, and then my latest release, besides the Uncut album, is Two Turn Baby. So
Wow. And do you mind if we play a clip of Rolling Stone?
yeah, go ahead. Half a pack of smoked cigarettes, an empty bottle of gin. Too busy making my life, and that's all. Here we go again. I'm a man in black, guitar in the back, 4x4 on a back road. I have pine and jack in my lap, cold can in the center console. It's the way I was raised, bills getting paid, and work down to the bone. You can't come for me, I'm riding free. I I will never fall, 'cause I'm a rolling stone. A rolling stone. I'm a rolling stone. A rolling stone.
So when I first listened to that song, one of the things that really attracted me to listen to it more was I really loved how you kind of combined and layered quite nicely kind of the rock portion, kind of with the electric guitar, and then you kind of layered it on top of the acoustics. And then, I think that that raw drumming, kind of really
Yeah.
is icing on the cake to me. Um, Specific like, was that kind of the sound you were aiming for in Rolling Stone, is you wanted something that was very rock sounding and very raw sounding?
Yeah, kind of like, I had a lot of Texas influences when I was stationed in San Antonio and, like early
Mhm.
even like I was also listening to like Cody Jinks and stuff like that. And I just wanted something chill and listening to it now. I haven't listened to Rolling Stone in probably like 2 or 3 weeks. It really just hones in on like being independent and, like nobody's going to take this from me because I work for it.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that was definitely the sound I was going for. Like, I'm a man. I'm gonna do this. This is me. Who I am.
Mhm. And you alluded it to it earlier, about the writing and the cutting process of Rolling Stone, but could you provide, like, a little bit more detail on kind of what the writing to the cutting process was for this particular track?
Okay. So I wrote that song originally because I'm a melody guy.
Mhm.
That's mostly what I am. Like I'm a lyricist. I do all this stuff. But melodies, I say that I am a melodic schizophrenic
Okay.
because I'm constantly hearing melodies in my head 24/7. And when I wrote that song, it was more of a freestyle in my brain. I was just sitting there writing it, and then I got in touch with a producer in Nashville, and I was like, "Look, before I moved to Nashville, I want to have music out already." So Rolling Stone, I did, and then I recorded 5 other songs, but it really wasn't the sound I was going for. But Rolling Stone was definitely like, I'm keeping this one. As far as like being in Nashville for 2 or 3 years, I figured out what I want my sound to be. And so I wrote the song. I came in. It was just like like old school Nashville. Like you come in with a full band, you just knock it out in one day. And we kind of wanted to know what the sound was going to be like as far as that rock sound. And it was just I don't know. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm gonna be completely honest. I had just moved to town. I had no idea what I was doing. But I knew I liked the song, and I knew that's what I wanted. And yeah, I'm moving to town, man. I had no idea what I was doing, but I'm glad it turned out so well.
Yeah.
No.
Because it's amazing to me, with the 3-year time difference kind of, specifically listening to that song. I think it was released in 2022, and, we're kind of at the tail end of 2024, the kind of
Mhm.
the beginning of 2025. It's just amazing, listening to, your other singles, like how much it sounds like you've changed and how much you've grown as an artist.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm proud of it. And when people say you need to move to Nashville to do music, it's they're not lying.
Mhm.
Because you can be good in your hometown. I compare it to sports all the time. You can be good in your hometown, but when you get out here, man, you can being authentic as possible will get you a long way. But you're not even competing. You're the only person you're competing with is yourself. And I'm
Mhm.
glad that I can have music from 2 to 3 years ago that can showcase how much I've grown as an artist.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's, like I do boxing training, and my trainer tells me all the time 95 to 98% of the sport, and it's pretty similar to music too as well. It's mental. It's really the 2% that's kind of the athletic or the kind of what you see externally from an artist.
Definitely, and especially with the stuff I do, even with upcoming releases, man, I get so much anxiety because it's familiar, but it's completely different. And I'm like, I hope people will like this. I know I like it, and then my friends like it, and it's really just about being vulnerable. It's about the art. When it comes down to it, it's what you want to put out and give to the world. But yeah, it's still so much anxiety when I'm releasing songs.
Yeah. And I mean, what are you afraid of, if you don't mind me asking?
It the thing I love and hate about the music industry is that you want people to like you so much, but
Uh-huh.
you don't like I don't want people. I don't want to have people's approval, but you need it.
Mhm.
Um, and it's really just like I want to put out the best quality music possible, and I want people to love the music I love and build a community around what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And it makes me really nervous because it's like excited nervous. And then once it's out, I'm like, okay, now it's time to start pushing it. Now the work.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. No, totally get it. And, trying to expanding upon the conversation, you have, another single, "Two Turnt Baby," too, as well. Do you mind if we also, play a track, or excuse me, play a clip to that too as well?
yeah, go ahead.
Extra, extra. Read 'em aloud. Michael Pritchett. Tyler Malik. I've been in the scene drinking all types of alcohol. You know what I mean when I lean every time I walk. Part of my routine with the team, so we never fall. We go to extremes, best believe that we ain't on top. Yeah, two-turn baby, I'm two-turn baby, I'm two-turn baby like hell yeah. Two-turn baby, I'm two-turn baby, I'm two-turn baby like hell yeah. Two-turn baby, I'm two-turn baby, I'm two-turn baby like hell yeah. Two-turn baby, I'm two-turn baby, I'm two-turn baby like hell yeah. You know we in here, pop my shit like diarrhea, acting like we from here. You know we don't live here. Told her what I'm on, she know I'm so sensitive. She listen with both ears, trying to be my missus. Okay, tell me the chances in cases of you coming back with.
So, I might have played that clip longer. I mean, it was that good. It was that good, Michael. You and Tyler, it was like a hand in a glove. Like, the the way that those vocals were really layered on top of each other, I was like, "Oh, wow." Like, the first time I listened to this song like that, and it's funny. It's, I gotta add that now to my playlist when I go running or when I go boxing now,
Dude,
kinda get
it's
it's
such
good
a
hike
vibe.
music.
Yeah, it's such a vibe, man.
Yeah, is that kind of when you play shows around Nashville, is that kind of like a staple song?
Man, I've played that song live twice. Because I played rounds and like I played an acoustic guitar and I'm like, man, but I play Rebel Rouser a lot. It's a writer's round out here, ran by my friend Ronnie, and he loves Two Turn Baby. And it's like if you can get a couple shots of Jameson in me, I'll play it. And he's just in the corner, like just vibing the entire time. It's on their
Yeah.
playlist between rounds.
Yeah, I mean, if I had the money, I'd totally be driving a Range Rover down Demon Bruin or Broadway with Two Turnt Baby, like, jammed out of like, blasting, like, I'd probably be the most obnoxious person in the world, but,
Dude,
who gives a shit at the end of the day?
I can't wait till I blow up and people go and they're like, Two Turn Baby, what is this? And yeah, this is crazy.
But
Oh,
yeah. But, what was the production process, everything from writing to cutting with this particular song and, specifically working with Tyler Malik on this?
so me and Tyler used to work at the stage together. I ended up we both quit around like the same time. He found like a higher paying job, and I was focusing on music. And then I ended up coming back to the stage to work days, just because I love those guys so much. But we lived like 10 minutes away from each other, and it just made more sense to carpool. But we're getting off working security 3:30 in the morning. What are we doing? We're listening to beats. And
Mhm.
then he just had like the hook in his head. He's like two turn baby, I'm two turn baby, I'm two turn baby. Like hell yeah! And I was just like, yeah, that's good. And we found like a day to where he was like, just come over tomorrow and we'll write the song. And Tyler is so talented as an artist and a writer. He just plays the beat over and over again and just types it in his phone.
Mm.
And I started adapting that to my writing style now in general, um, even just with a guitar or just melodies in my head. But the way that he can just sit there and listen to a beat over and over again and hit it right on the money, just with matching the melodies with his. Uh, but he was like, "You have too much sad songs." He's like, you need a party song. And I was like, okay, well, when I think of Two Turn Baby, I think of like, okay, pretty much almost blacked out on Broadway. Like we've just been drinking all day, having fun, and
Uh-huh.
but I'm to the level where like I'm two turn, like there's no going back. His level is like I'm having fun, the atmosphere, like it's a blast. I'm like I'm just like too far gone. Back have that verse is on. Hold up, that's it. Two turn, you know that we lit. I'm pouring it down. We up in the cloud shades on, and I can't see shit. It's because I'm messed up. That was my take on it. But we laid down like a demo. I bought. We recorded over the beat, and I liked it so much. I bought the beat, and then we took it to the studio. And Grady James, my producer, was like, "What on earth is this?" He was like, I've been waiting for you to do this. But Tyler flew up from Texas. He had a show in Texas, and I got two turned the night before. And then we like took turns sleeping in the studio. We did like a 10-hour session with Grady James, and we would just take naps in between our verses. And the funny part is Tyler did the intro. And I was like, sound like you're just like a hillbilly on an old radio station introducing us. Because he was in the Air Force and he got out and moved to town. And we grew up 30 minutes from each other. So it's like, and it's weird how like different our voices, our accents carry just from a 30-minute radius. But we got in there and we did it, and we listened to it over and over and over again. And that's just what came up of it. But I'm definitely going to be doing more rap stuff.
Yeah. No, it's what I do like about the song. I do kind of like that old radio kind of announcer effect. It kind of really kind of showcases like, oh, like it's about to go down.
Yeah, it's like, all right, yeah, let's get it. And then it was so funny that Tyler was just doing it. I was like, just talk like an old head from back home.
Yeah, but no, that should be a staple now. If you ever when you do rounds again, that should be like, hi, I'm Michael. This is my song, Two Turn Baby.
Man, I did Tyler's verse too on acoustic, and I was just like, I did the whole intro and I introduced. I was like, y'all have to sing this with me, and I literally said the intro. I was like, Two Turn Baby, I'm Two Turn Baby, I'm Two Turn Baby. Like that. And there's a video on my TikTok of my friends and everybody singing it, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely going on a set list.
Yeah, you could start a movement for all you know. So so just a little bit about you. So you're from Chatham, Virginia. So pretty rural part of the state. And just out of curiosity, how does your music represent your hometown, and what do you want listeners to learn and understand about Chatham when they hear your music?
So Chatham is a one-stop light town. So there's nothing to do whatsoever but play sports and get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my friends, we used to literally got skated. We would run all over town for hours on end, skateboarding, smoking cigarettes, and all we were cool. I was like 13. But we would walk everywhere and do everything. And music was a huge influence on everything we did.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knows what Chatham is. Like, I mean, even we would go play in different counties and they called it Chatham. So I always compared, I say I'm from Danville, Virginia, but I grew up in Chatham. It's like a 15, 20-minute drive. And Danville is very like rap influenced. We have some rappers from Danville. We have NFL players from Danville. It's very, very urban for a small like city. And then you go out in the county and you got 4 high schools within 20 minutes from each other, and it's very country. I want to be able to take all the different influences I've had and just kind of shape it into just like, okay, when I release a song, they're like, this is definitely my Pritchett song. Even when it comes to my writing style, even when it comes to me releasing songs as an artist, I want to be able to showcase all of those influences, because that's what made me who I am as an artist anyway. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So it's kind of like, because I'm right by Northern Virginia, so it's the exact opposite of like Arlington and Roslyn and all that jazz.
You know, like even Danville has like two main streets, and then there's like the four highways that cut across the county. So you got 29 that goes all the way up to you guys, and then you got 41, 57, and I haven't been home in a minute. Yeah, there's a couple of them, but then they like come across Martinsville. It's like it's weird. It's just like you go down one road, you're passing everybody's house, and then
Wow.
we would do like, you know, when stuff wasn't cool, we
Yeah.
always did it. And then I played sports, so I was like with the cool kids. But most of the time I was hanging out with like my friends, skateboarding and getting into trouble playing basketball and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's interesting about the state of Virginia is so you have like the Washington area, then you have like Richmond, and then
Mhm.
there's like literally nothing after.
Yeah, you got like Lynchburg where Liberty is, but it's literally if I explain where I'm from, I say 2 hours south of Richmond. Everything's up 29 if you're not coastal.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. So you guys don't even have like a 6-lane highway.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Wow.
We got five in Raleigh. And then Nashville's crazy, but after driving through Raleigh, because I used to drive up from Lejeune all the way to Virginia every weekend, it's like a 3 hour drive. I got used to it.
Wow. It's crazy. And you don't realize like, you know, that there's parts of the country and then there's also parts of the state like, like Virginia that, are not as populated as other parts are. So it's great. It's crazy to kind of see those comparisons and then, because I'm of the belief that people's hometowns, you really the longer you listen to their stuff, you start to understand why they write the way they do, why they sing the way they do, why they write songs and albums in a particular way. So it's just fascinating to just kind of see that from a melodic representation, kind of what you were saying earlier about having melodies constantly in your head.
Yeah, a lot of people like nobody my age really does music, and if they do, they're doing Appalachian music. Big like because we have a lot of live music in Danville. It's
Mm.
just all chicken picking. They have like catfish circles. You come, you get free catfish, and you play guitar. And I would bring my Gibson up there, and I'm like, I have no idea how to do any of this compared to you guys. But I would sing like at this brewery I played at all the time. They would have an open mic for 4 hours before the band actually came. And there was this one dude who would always be there at 12 o'clock to see me play. I would just sit there and I would play for 4 hours and just, it's called Mountain Valley. It's a really cool spot.
I mean, I gotta ask, was it fried or was it grilled catfish?
Well, it's fried catfish.
It's fried catfish.
Yeah. Big catfish state, Smith Mountain Lake, Phil Pot, Bugs Island. That's all we would do.
Wow.
I don't hate fishing out here. I just don't know how to do it. There, it's just second nature.
Oh wow. I mean, that doesn't sound like a bad deal though. Free food and as like labor, you have to play music.
Yeah, it's my cut. It was my best friend growing up. It was his uncle, and we later found out we were cousins because of his stepdad. But his uncle would be like, "You coming up this weekend?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, I need somebody to play for 4 hours. I'll get like catfish and like free alcohol." I'm like, "All right, cool."
Yeah. That, the older I get, that's, I've started to learn if you promise people free food and free booze, everyone comes like running like a stampede.
Definitely. I think we had a benefit, and they had this brew called Coyote Call, and we killed 2 kegs of it. It was just so good. It was so good. I had everybody drinking it. I was like, I do this every weekend.
Oh, wow.
Not the kegs, but like I drink Coyote Call every weekend. But yeah, the benefit, it was like 300 people there, and they killed 2 kegs of Coyote Call.
Wow. My gosh. Well, that's the other thing too, is like, it's amazing, the time I was in Nashville, just the amount of like different types of whiskey, different types of beer. They also have wine. So it's interesting if you do drink, you're not really bounded by one particular kind of alcohol.
Definitely. Yeah, I drink. I'm big on Coors Banquet now. I
Mhm.
don't know why. It's so good. I've never liked Coors. But I started drinking like Coors Banquet Draft at Red Door. My buddy bought me a beer, and I was like, "This is pretty good." And then I'm very simple. can't have anything super sweet. It's like
Mm.
Jameson and Coors Banquet. It's about it.
Wow. Uh,
Yeah.
that's wild. So I might be simple, but for me, it's like all I really need is like a cigar on top of the Batman Tower overlooking Nashville, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
All right. I hear you. Yeah.
That's my jam. Like,
Yeah.
that's big cigar guy. That's kind of for me, it's like, oh, okay, like kind of gives me time to relax and, just forget it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of, did you ever watch the Cheers or listen to the theme song of Cheers?
Yeah. Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know why, but it kind of really mellows me out. So just forget kind of life's troubles and kind of it's my zen more or less.
I get that. Mine's just when I drive, because living in here, it's like a 10-minute drive everywhere. But if I go out like to Murfreesboro or something to go to the VA,
Mhm.
40-minute drive, I can relax.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, everyone has their thing, and it's not my right to judge what works for someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, just so kind of continuing the conversation about the music aspect of it. So you released an album called Uncut, which was released this year. And what does this album mean to you? And what did you learn about yourself in the production process?
So when it came to Uncut, I'm an independent artist. I can't afford to, record 10 songs fully produced. And these are songs that I've had written from like a 2-year span to like the week prior. And I got together with Nash Sessions. I did a couple like live Instagram reels with them. Really cool guys. And I realized that I connect more with people in writers' rounds
Mm.
with these songs. So I wanted to be able to give that aspect of up close and personal. I mean, you can hear Eddie saying, all right, go, that's a cut, talking about the song before I play it. And I just wanted it as raw and genuine as possible.
Hmm.
And what I really learned about myself is that, um, that can be all I need. I don't need a full band behind me to be able to help people. And I've played a couple songs out off of that. I played all the songs out off the album, but there's a few that really just, have touched people. And that was the whole purpose of it. It wasn't to, have an album out to blow up. It was, I'm a writer. I have something to say, and this is who I am. So I can also do this. And I wanted people to be able to hear my stuff.
Yeah. No, no, it's fascinating. And two tracks, and I know like it starts off with change a thing, and then the other it's trust issues, which is at the end. But I think those two tracks kind of represent kind of what the album is about, kind of talking about kind of life experiences, kind of what you went through, and kind of what you were alluding to, kind of trying to get your story out there for people to understand who Michael Pritchett is, not only as an artist but as a human being too as well. And could you provide like an introduction of Change a Thing and kind of what it means to you?
So Change the Thing I wrote for an assignment. And, it was really just, as I said, growing up in Chatham, a lot of things I was like, I don't have what other people have. Um, you know, we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't, I have 3 older brothers. We shared stuff. We did all this stuff, and I have a single mom. And but I wouldn't change any of it.
Mhm.
It really, growing up with a single parent and watching the struggles that they go through really can, affect a child.
Mhm.
But going through that process, my mom had to be a mom and a dad, and I got to find out how strong of a person she really is. And is weird because I would see the families with 2 parents and the different dynamics of it. But all my friends always wanted to come to my house. all my friends wanted to hang out with me. They wanted, like, my mom wouldn't even, like, even if she wasn't home, even if I wasn't home, my friends knew where the house key was. And I would come home from football practice and I'd have friends already at the house, like downstairs in the basement playing Xbox. And grass is always greener aspect, and I always thought that growing up when I was younger. But when I'm like, hey, this is how I grew up, I had it a lot better than a lot of other people, and not even comparison. It was the best um, way to be raised for myself, because it taught me how to be independent as a man, as a person, and just in being grateful for who I am.
So you're kind of like, is it
Yeah.
safe to say you were kind of like the cool kid of Chatham?
I didn't think I was. If I was, somebody's lying. Shit. I could fit in any friend group. Definitely. Like I said, I skated and then I played quarterback in football. So I would hang out with guys and I'd smoke weed and I'd chill, and then I'd be with the baseball team partying on the weekends, and the football team. It was just like, my school was small, man. We had 200 people graduate my senior class. Um, I could have been cool with it. I don't know. We'll find
Wow.
out if I have a reunion.
Wow. So you kind of like really had to, it was kind of a small town where if someone saw you doing something not smart, then like everyone finds out relatively quickly.
Easily. And the reason my mom wanted me to play sports so bad, because it kept me out of trouble.
Mhm.
But yeah, my mom worked at the town hall, and all the cops knew me. If something happened, my mom was the first person called. Because my friend Josh lived at one end of the town, I lived at the other, and we had a couple friends in between. But me and Josh were like boys growing up. Like, it would always be us and then other people.
Wow.
But anytime we could go play basketball at Sugar Hill Park, it would be like 15 of us every weekend, just doing something. Up to no good.
So if the cops all knew you and if your mom worked at the town hall, so that means you were double screwed if you got in trouble for something.
Yeah, I'll get away with anything. But my mom had like the fear struck in me from the beginning. Like, I wasn't going to do anything bad, and if I did, she knew about it before I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. She
Wow.
raised three boys before me. I couldn't get away with anything.
Yeah, yeah, that's wow. That's crazy. And do you mind if we play like a clip of Change a Thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mama didn't have much, but she kept food on the table. She worked real hard when we were growing up to make sure that we were stable. Younger me would complain about all the things I didn't need. But looking back now, I have figured out that I wouldn't change a thing, wouldn't change a thing. Cause we didn't need money growing up in the country, climbing them big old trees. All of my buddies still came over Sunday, cause mama had to make them leave. Hand-me-down kings with holes in her jeans, redneck royalty.
I really love, well, two things that I want to mention. So first of all, I love that I love your guitar. So I kind of that dark, so the black aspect of it, and then kind of the burnt orange of it a little bit. That's a cool design. Um,
My
and then
son,
the and then the second thing was I really kind of like how you really adopted kind of an outlaw kind of attitude for this particular track. Is that kind of what you were aiming for when opening the album?
yeah, definitely. Because there's some songs on there that I feel that I was better at, but
Mhm.
this one was this. It's just like Rolling Stone. It's like, this is who I am, and this is how I want to set the tempo for this album. Um, a Southern Jumbo Gibson and drop D is just going to, like, be music butter to your ears, man. Um, but yeah, it's just simple and just strong, and just like the grit with it is what I wanted. I don't really have many country songs that are just strictly country. And,
Mhm.
you know, just because I've kind of veered off bringing this is who I am, this is what I know. And then as an artist, I like to do different things.
Mhm.
But that was very like this is the capstone of what this album's going to be.
Mhm. And what I also liked about this track too as well, totally forgot to mention it, when I mentioned those two previous details, was I really liked how it was relatively, or excuse me, it was a simple kind of acoustic plucking. Like you didn't have drums, you didn't have an electric guitar. It was just you and that acoustic guitar.
Yeah. As I said, like playing stuff live, I just, and I didn't sing crazy either. I wasn't hitting any high notes. It was just, I'm telling a story. And even
Mhm.
my brother, he messaged me and he's a writer as well. And he's like, man, you just didn't try to do too much at all. It was just like, it, this is who I am. And I was like, yeah, man, I was just, I wrote the song in like 10 minutes. And with those songs like that, when they're about you, they're really easy to write.
Mhm.
There's some I try to write all the time, and I can't think of anything to say. But that one just kind of poured out because all of it's true,
Mhm.
and, and that's why I wanted it to be the first song.
Mhm. So it was kind of, so would you say then everything from kind of the writing to the cutting process, since it was you, it was your story, it was kind of you introducing yourself to the listeners of Uncut. Would you say then it was relatively simple to kind of write this and then cut it?
Yeah. When it came to it, I was taking a class at Berkeley. It's called Writing from the Title. We had to come up with titles,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, change a thing like that, pronounced that way. I was like, that really isn't like, it doesn't sound pleasing to the ear. But with my accent, I was like, change a thing. I was like, that sounds like a country song. And then I was like, what does like that mean to me? And it turned into like, I'm proud of who I am, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. And
Mhm.
so when it came to writing, it was so simple. Even the second verse, Grandpa's came forward the honey hole, where I caught every bass and a beat up old Ford. I couldn't afford 2 jobs bought it in cash. I had a Ford Ranger, man. I got it for like $1,500 because I was working 2 jobs. And my stepdad at the time, he ended up, yeah, I don't even know if he was my stepdad yet. He might not have been. No, it was before the Navy, but he found a deal on like Marketplace or something. Back when the prices of vehicles were still the price of vehicles. Yeah, when you could get a Ford Ranger for $1,500. It
Yeah.
wasn't like 400,000 miles. Uh, but he was like, "I'll sell it to you." I was like, "All right, cool." And I was working for the town. I was like weed eating during the summer, and then I was working like truck at Harbor Freight during the night and going to college. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll buy it." And then I put that Ford Ranger through hell.
Wow. And how many miles did you end up in total putting on it?
um, it wasn't really the mileage. I got it with like 80,000 miles, and it was a 5 speed. But all the rednecks, they had like jacked up Duramaxes and shit, some
Wow.
F-250s, and they're like cutting through fields and stuff. And I'm there with a Ford Ranger getting sideways.
Wow. Now, was it an old Ranger? Where it was I don't know if I mean they don't make trucks like this anymore, but do you remember growing up? It was just the, I call it the bench seat. So you literally had the driver's seat, then you had like a middle seat, and then you had like the passenger seat.
Yeah, and it was an '01, and it was white. It had a bullet hole on the side of it. And
Uh-huh.
I would tell everybody somebody tried to shoot up my truck because I wanted to sound cool. But no, it was like that before I got it. But
Yeah.
yeah, trying to, and I always drove everywhere, even though everybody had like crew cab Silverados and stuff like that. But with the stick shift in the middle, it wasn't even really a middle seat. It was kind of just like grooved around it,
Oh,
and I would be 4 deep in the Ford Ranger with people in the back.
wow.
Yeah.
Talk about some major safety issues.
Well, I mean, you'd have like there was I said it was one stoplight in my town, so we knew all the back roads, so we would take those. And I I don't know, I was just the best driver, I guess. Everybody else wanted to drink. I'm not promoting drinking and driving, but yeah.
Yeah. Wow. No, sounds no, but it sounds like you made a lot of great memories in Chatham.
Definitely, and it was I just did so much, um, and having so many different friend groups, and then we all kind of meshed together. Once I graduated, I moved in with a friend of mine. Just while I was going to community college, just I wanted to be more independent or whatever. But we partied all the time, and when you graduate from a small school, especially in a county with four different high schools where you had like that sports beef or whatever, your district, you all
Oh,
become friends after. So we I think 2016 was the best year for anybody. We all know 2016 summer was like the best summer. Uh, but we would have like 15, 20 guys like every weekend at my buddy's house, just doing something, fishing, hunting, uh, fireworks, whatever we could do to pass time and get in trouble, we would do it.
do you still go back and visit when you have the chance?
Yeah, I'll go back and visit, but it's everybody's grown up now, man. I'm 27, and being in the military kind of put like a freeze on my life because I was like, I can't wait to get out and start my life. And then I got out, and everybody was like graduated school, they got careers, they're starting families. I mean, I look today on Facebook, and somebody else I went to school with has like their second kid. And I'm just like, I'm gonna be a rock star. When I go home, it's mostly like to see my mom and see my brother and my nephews, and then like a couple of my best friends that I'm still tight with. Um, Even my friend Josh, like I talk to him probably every 6 months. Um, but when I go home, I'm with him and his family, or I'm with my family.
Oh wow. No, that's great. I mean, and that's an amazing feeling when you can go back somewhere and you can, majority of the people are still there. You kind of have your hangout spots that are still there, and it's like, nothing's changed.
Yeah, especially in a town like that. They're like, "Oh yeah, we got a Chipotle." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Nashville built 4 new bars on Broadway in the past 3 months.
Yeah, I've always found those like hilarious when people talk about like, oh, like this small town now has a Starbucks, and I'm like, we have like six on like one block.
I can walk to Starbucks from here, man. But I'll still DoorDash it because I'm lazy. But
Yeah, I made the mistake once. Actually, it wasn't necessarily a mistake. It was more of like a social experiment. Like, because I live right by a Starbucks too. I'm like, how much would it be to just DoorDash like a $5 drink? And then I got the bill and it was like $25.
yeah, man.
I'm like, how many Starbucks drinks I could have bought for $25?
Man, I ordered Papa John's off the app because I wanted the discount. And then I waited an hour and a half, and I didn't get my pizza, and I was so pissed. It's like I had worked all day. I was grumpy, man. I was like, I just want a fat pizza that I could just eat the entire thing and knock out, so I could sleep good.
Yeah.
Didn't get it. I got mad, and then I DoorDashed it and had it in 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, I'm DoorDashing from now on.
I mean, like, if you really wanted to have a grand old time, you could wait in line like everyone else at Biscuitville down in the Gulch.
There's a Biscuitville here.
Yeah, there's a Biscuitville.
Oh my God. I thought Daniel has a Biscuitville. And I didn't know that any other place ever had a Biscuitville. But that line would, it says there's 2 main roads. And it would be, yeah, like, I think it's Westover and Pine Forest. And Westover is where Biscuitville was. And it would be a line in the morning, like halfway down the street, just to even get into the parking lot at the Biscuitville. That's
Jeez.
insane. I'm definitely
Yeah.
going to Biscuitville.
Well, I'm at the point in my life though where I'm like, if I have to wait in line for something, I'm like, I don't have patience for that anymore. To be completely honest with you.
I don't either, especially after living in the city, man. It's just made me like, I need it and I need it now. So I'm going to get it.
Yeah. Well, and so off that little tangent,
Yeah.
I was, to bring it back to the music. So another track on your on Uncut is Trust Issues.
Mhm.
And can you provide just a introduction about trust issues and what it means to you as an artist?
Um, So I have trust issues, obviously. It's I wanted to show my vulnerability, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, everybody says I write sad songs. It's just because of the experiences I've been put through, and I use music to cope and deal with those emotions. And trust issues really was just like, I'm easy to fall in love. I found a reason to, even with people in general, not just like emotional relationships, I guess, just like friends, family, anything. Um, I do have trust issues, and it's just because of experiences I've been put through. And when it comes to the song, it's definitely like a love song, and it's like, hey, I have these issues. Do you have these issues? We can make it work. The whole atmosphere of somebody has red flags. They're not even worth my time these days. Is kind of selfish. I feel. Um, if you like somebody, you should be able to work on it. I mean, and we're at the age, man. I'm almost 30. I'll be 30 in like 2.5 years. I've got some baggage. You know, but if you want something to work, you have to be mature enough to be like, this is who I am. This is who you are. Let's do it.
Mhm.
And the song is really, really emo. But I wanted to end it with like, hey, this is gonna be okay. We can
Yeah.
do it, I guess.
Yeah. Do you mind if we play a clip of it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Your lipstick imprinted on my t-shirt. It don't mean shit if all you do is hurt. Stuck trying to figure out what went wrong. Is it my fault? So it's my fault. 'Cause I've got trust issues. Tell me, baby, do you too? When you say you done, do you mean it? Or you just kidding?
So very kind of similar in particular to kind of Rolling Stone that we talked about. Very simple, just your vocals and acoustic. It sounds like that's kind of something that you want people to identify with in your music. Um, and the question that I did have for you in particular was the process to writing and cutting this. Was it relatively similar to Rolling Stone, or kind of was it totally different?
When it came to, so I did 3 songs with Nash Sessions live video.
Mhm.
Um, so I think I did Change a Thing, Grown Men Can't Cry, and Heartburn. I did all those live with a recording. I did 2 takes of them. And then the
Mhm.
rest of them I did just mic'd up, no video. And I probably did two or three takes. And I was like, I got with Eddie and I was like, I want this to be as raw as possible. I've played these songs hundreds of times, but I'm gonna come in there. If we need 2 or 3 takes because it didn't come through right, okay. But literally, it was 3 songs one day and then uh, 7 of them the next. And I got in there, did it like for 4 hours, and just knocked it out. And
Mhm.
it was so simple, and I just wanted it as genuine as possible. Um,
Mhm.
and even with like trust issues, like I listen to my stuff and I'm like, dang, like I actually wrote that, because especially when you're doing emotional stuff and then you look back on it, you're like, somebody hurt me, man. But it was more of when it came to that song. Now that I think about it, it was more about how those issues can make you self sabotage in relationships. Um, so really, you got to get your shit together if you're going to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was relatively simple.
Yeah. Well, and listening to that track for the first time, it was very applicable to kind of what happened in my life not too long ago. So I just want to say thank you for writing something like that for people who have experienced kind of those types of challenges in their lives.
Mhm. Well, and I know it's and especially as men, like in general, a lot of those songs are because I've been put through a lot, and a lot of songs are very vulnerable, and it's hard for that. And I was like, well, if I can do it, I'm a big tattooed athletic guy, and then I'm singing songs about heartbreak and emotion, and suicide, and all this stuff, then it'll give people the ability to speak up, get help, or just say that they're not alone. And that's really what I want because when it comes to my music, I wrote and I played it because I felt alone or I felt I needed to get things out.
Hmm.
And so if I feel that way, then I know other people do. So I'm grateful that I can give even you or other people a voice to know that you know shit sucks, but you're going to get through it, and nobody's ever really alone.
Hmm. Yeah. And and that also kind of goes into my next question nicely. So you're involved in mental health initiatives, and we heard this in your song "Grown Men Don't Cry" track.
Mhm.
Uh, could what do you think we need to understand as a country about suicide?
That it can be anybody, really. Everybody struggles with it at some point. I mean, we're human, and being able to understand that it's normal because I mean, it's gotten better. I'm not gonna lie, it's gotten better as far as like 10 years ago. It shouldn't be a trend. It should be something taken seriously. I worked in psych for 5 years when I was in the Navy. I worked on the inpatient psychiatric ward in the military. I did outpatient stuff. Um, I've had issues of my own. I've witnessed it. I've been surrounded by it. And I'm also like, people feel like they can lean on me, especially with the music I put out. And I feel like what people need to understand is that it's okay to be weak or vulnerable or whatever the stigma is behind it. It's okay to be human. Especially with social media nowadays, everybody thinks that people have this perfect life, or they think that you have to be a certain way. And I mean, my struggles compared to somebody else's struggles could be completely different, but still have the same repercussions of it.
Hmm.
I used to work with guys who were 18 in the military, and the scariest thing they ever been through was boot camp. And then they had to deal with those struggles and those thoughts. And I'm just like, it was boot camp. But I mean, I got yelled at.
Wow. And could you, could you provide kind of an introduction for that for "Grown Men Don't Cry" track, kind of what it means to you as an artist?
Well, so I was a roommate and a fellow corpsman of mine who worked in the psych ward. He committed suicide, and I didn't know. Like I guess looking back, there were signs, I guess, and stuff like that, and I didn't know that it was going to happen. There was no really. He never reached out,
Hmm.
and that's what I wanted to showcase. Basically, that it's okay for men to cry at certain times, but when it comes to like how like the stigma of men like in general feel, they feel like that they can't reach out to anybody. They feel like the only time they can cry is when they're in the room. And I wanted to be like, hey, it's okay. Like we know, um, but you need to get through it. It's kind of uncomfortable for me to talk about because when I play it, I can get into it. Um, but yeah, that was really for my buddy, and I tried to write it with 3 or 4 people, and then I sat down and I wrote it in 10 minutes and by myself because
Hmm.
I was ready and I was ready to accept it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, even like the stuff I've been put through and mental health issues I have, as a lot of artists I've noticed have, a lot of men have. I wanted to be like, hey, this is my story. This is,
Mm,
what we should
mm,
talk about.
yeah. And out of respect for your friend and for you, um, I don't, um, I don't think I'm not comfortable playing the track. Just because of what you were discussing. But could you talk about specifically when because you kind of to it a little bit when you were writing and cutting it, what was the most emotional part for you? Because listening to this track, I could feel the emotion when you were playing, as well as kind of in your vocals too, as well.
Yeah, when I first started it, it was like, hey, this is like you can scrape your knee and rub some dirt on it.
Mhm.
You can be tough. You can do this, and and it was like probably the bridge. It was like they can't break down, let it all out because they're too afraid. They're too damn proud. Hold it in for now because they don't want to look weak. And even when I play it live, like I still like have to take a breath, because I'm like this is fucked up. Like, I didn't really feel like this. Yeah, I know I have,
Mhm.
but yeah, that was definitely that bridge. The first time I sang it live, I just like I let it all out when I sing that song, and I only
Mhm.
sing it when I'm probably like a couple shots in, and I've played my whole set, and I'm like, hey, for some reason I feel like I need to play this tonight,
Mhm.
and that's probably the most emotional part. And then the intro, coming into the chorus,
Mhm.
because it's like my deep voice, I'm chill, and then it's like, okay, emotion flipped on. Let's go.
Mhm. Yeah. And just even like, the last thing I'll say, just even listening to kind of that intro of what the song is and kind of what it means to you, it kind of really kind of makes you sit up straight and be like, okay, Michael has something, very serious he wants to talk to us about.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And I wanted to release it by itself, and I wanted to um, put it first. Honestly, I wanted it to be the first song, but I was like, people don't react to this right away.
Mm-hmm.
If this was by itself, people would feel like just thrown off guard because even I worked in mental health for years. Somebody comes up to me and says something that it's just like I don't react, especially since I worked in it for years. But as soon as you got a couple cool songs, and it's like Grown Man Can't Cry. All right, what is this about? And yeah, it's really what I was going for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
And
yeah,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I really just I'm glad I did it. It needed to be out. It needed to be heard for my sake and for other people's, I guess. So,
And kind of what, and that leads in my next question nicely. So you're a military veteran. Well, and first of all, I want to say thank you for your service. Uh, how has that experience shaped you into not, you know, yes, the artist portion is important, being an up and coming country music artist, but how about the person, Michael Pritchett? Like, how has that experience really shaped you?
it's helped me a lot out here. Um, this stuff isn't easy. And if military really helped like strengthen me mentally.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't join the Navy, I would not be out here right now. For the sake of like, I didn't pick up a guitar until I was in like the barracks and my TV didn't work, or just getting away from a small town. Um, my first experience was in Chicago in boot camp, and then I was in San Antonio, Texas. That first time I've been on a plane is when I joined the military. Uh, it's it's given me the grit to just keep grinding.
Mm-hmm.
You ask any vet, they just do it. Like it's not a question of I'm gonna try. It's like you just do it. And as far as like as a person, networking and just being like carrying yourself to the standard of who you want to be. I feel like a lot of people know it before I even tell them because and other vets know it. Like you walk in a room, you just know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's allowed me to just go up to people and be genuine,
Mm-hmm.
be real. I don't announce it 24/7. But if it goes to the story, I like to talk about it. It's a big part of my life, and especially the work I did. I was a medic, and my specialty was psych. That gave me the ability to speak in front of people, especially about serious stuff. Like I used to teach like groups, in a psych ward,
Hmm.
and it just allowed me to be as genuine as possible, and I'm grateful for it. Really, uh, but yeah, I wouldn't do it again, but I would not. I'm glad I did it. Uh, yeah, it gave me a lot, and I'm thankful for it. So.
And so, would you say then that a lot of the skills that you learned in the military, um, it was a much easier process transferring over all those skills to performing?
Mentally, yes. Um, I think my vocals got strong from screaming. Honestly, just screaming and training. Um, yeah, definitely. No, I still get nervous, man. Especially when it's a song that I like and that nobody's heard it. I get nervous every time. It's giving me for lack of better terminology, the I don't give a fuck attitude.
Hmm.
Because you got to do it either way, and
Hmm.
I've put that mentality into my music. Like I'm gonna do this until like I'm dead. I'm gonna do
Hmm.
this until like somebody literally makes me not be able to do it anymore. But nobody's ever gonna do
Hmm.
that. Yeah, even my mom talked about it after I moved there. She was like, the ambition you have, it's like I'll go hungry. You know,
Hmm.
like it doesn't matter. Like I will do whatever it takes, and then I will do more. Like just
Hmm.
getting there is the first step, and I feel like I'm on the right track. Um, if you stop, then you're
Hmm.
definitely not gonna get there.
Yeah.
You just keep moving in one direction, and if that direction gets stopped, go in another one.
Well, what's the saying? We have a saying in Texas, and I might be butchering it a little bit, because I haven't lived there in a long time. But it's like, it goes something like, It ain't over until the fat lady sings."
Hmm. Yeah, and if she sings, I'm gonna be doing harmonies. So I'm not gonna stop. Like I don't. It's not my DNA anymore at this point. This is what I want to do. This is what I was put on earth to do. So I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Whether it's in front of one person or 50,000.
And are you pretty similar to as well, just from like a personality standpoint? Because for me, it's like if I don't finish something, it like really grinds my gears. Like I have to finish it.
Yeah. Um, if it's something I like, then
Uh-huh.
yeah. If it's something I as far as like, yeah, you can tell if I don't care about something because I won't give it no attention. Um, Songwriting, I had to teach myself how to like just let it be and then go back to it later.
Hmm.
Inspiration strikes wherever. But yeah, like people call this a 10-year town. If it takes me 10 years, cool. If it takes me, the next 2 months, cool. But the thing I learned in the military, like when I was getting screamed at by people who had been in for 10 years, um, I was like, well, if I was in for 10 years, I'd be where you're at. So I keep that in mind. It's,
Hmm.
it's all about the process. And if you stay and you keep doing it, eventually it's going to happen,
Hmm.
especially doing the right things and making the right moves.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
it gets under my skin so much.
and just even, and it's crazy just kind of with my busy schedule, you know, I love to write. I wouldn't call myself a songwriter, but I like to write country songs. And just it's amazing to me, just even writing 2 lines a day and adding that up over a period of a month, that adds up relatively quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely. Think about how many thoughts you have a day,
Hmm.
and I mean, anything can be music. I was explaining, and if you write a song, you're a songwriter. 60% of the people I know aren't songwriters, but they write great stuff.
Hmm.
It's who can do it the most and produce the most, like consistently. It's just like a professional, like you can be a baseball player, but a professional baseball player is going to get a lot more hits than you, doesn't mean you're not a baseball player. I was telling that to my brother. We were talking about him possibly moving out here. He's like, I just want to be a songwriter. I was like, dude, we're cutting one of your songs. Like, that's my next release is a song that, like, he let me write with him. And I was like, you're a songwriter. So yeah, like every day, if I hear a title, if I hear like, like anything, I keep my phone on me, even at work when I shouldn't be. If something strikes, I'm typing it in my phone, and they know, so they're fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no shame in that. You're just trying to make it, like all of us are.
Pretty much, like, just do what you got to do, man. Somebody's process might be different from another person's. As long as I can just be a chill guy and put out good music, I'm happy.
Yeah. So I do stand corrected. It's called Biscuit Love, not Biscuitville.
Yeah,
No,
it ain't Biscuitville though.
yeah, I'm up. Now, mind you, like, it's, I might get some flack for saying this, but it's really like potato. It's like, in Texas we had like Pizza Hut, and then there was like Pizza Inn. I don't even know if Pizza Inn really even exists anymore, but it was like, you say the wrong one. So I'm just giving everyone a heads up, like, don't spear me. So
Biscuitville does hit different. I've had Biscuit Love. It's not Biscuitville.
yeah. But no, it's just wanted to just wanted to stamp that into this episode. It's Biscuit Love, not Biscuitville.
We do Biscuit Love.
Yeah. But yeah, it's and then the next question that I do have for you is, so what does country music mean to you, and how do you want to contribute to the genre based off of the songs that we discussed, like Rolling Stone, Two Turnt Baby, Change the Thing, Trust Issues? Kind of like, what do you want to contribute to this genre?
I want to live forever. Like, I mean, honestly, we all know that we're going to die one day. I want people to listen to my music in 60 to 100 years, and just continue to live on. I said that to somebody, and they just looked at me. They were like, "Dude, what?" I was like, "I want to live forever, bro. Like, I want to put out so much good music that people will hear it, just like we listen to Johnny Cash and and all those guys, and Merle Haggard, even like Muddy Waters. Like, I listen to those guys all the time, and I'm like, what if they knew that we were still listening to their stuff? So I want that. And then, all in all, country music to me, it's just giving me grace and giving me peace. It's saved my life numerous times. A piece of wood with 6 strings, man. It's crazy how that has come through, and every time that I need it. So that, along with faith, it's my purpose. That's what it means to me.
Awesome. And the last question I want to ask you, is there any upcoming EPs, albums, singles, shows, writers rounds that you want people to know that you'll be participating in, recording, or attending?
So calendar wise, I'm playing a writers round for Rebel Rouser at Live Oak on the 17th. It is for Dalton Lee. I was a co-writer on his debut single, Change Your Mind, that we were discussing before. Great song. I'm biased because I helped write it, but he's going to be putting me on the 10 o'clock round, along with a bunch of other writer friends and just people we know in the community who like to play and write music. And then October 4th, I'm releasing a single called Come Find Me that I wrote with my brother. And it's really inspired by the stuff I went through during that time with my buddy's suicide and things I was going through. That will be released on October 4th. It is a rock song. So we're going back to rock.
Wow. And I was going to ask you about your buddy Dalton. First of all, before we hopped on this podcast, I said I listened to that song maybe 3 to 4 times. you know, I don't want people to think I'm some sort of crazy person that listens to one song multiple times, but overall a great song. But yeah, I think The Sign, where was that? It was like Fifth and Broadway where they did that massive advertisement.
Yeah, so that is the Nashville sign, right off Music Row. I think Blackbird Media does it, possibly. I'm pretty sure. It's been a minute. I've never been on the sign.
Yeah.
My songs are explicit though, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But yeah, it's a big deal, and I'm proud of them. Debut release, man, and it's he recorded it like the week after we wrote it, and I didn't even know. He just sent me a picture in the studio, and he's like, "Guess what?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And we had his release party, and his birthday was the next day. And I got a little rowdy. I'm not gonna lie. That song was so much fun to write.
Mhm.
Great writer, great guy, good friend. So
Yeah. And similarly to your stuff that's on Spotify, you can also listen to that single too on Spotify, correct?
yes, it's under his name, Dalton Lee. It's his debut release, so his name might be a little hard to find. But mine, yeah, all my stuff is under Michael Pritchett.
Awesome. Yeah. Great. And be sure to subscribe to Down in the Country podcast on YouTube, as well as listening to the audio files of this interview, both on Spotify and Apple Podcast. This is Dylan Reed signing off. Thank you so much again for your time today, Michael.
Yeah, dude. Thank you.